Well, Cynthia, I am so glad to have you today. And honestly, we're going to talk about a difficult topic, mental health in teenagers. But we love you. We love your family. Tell us a little bit. I get to work with your husband, Ron, all the time. But just tell us a little bit about yourself. So let us in on Cynthia, not all Ron's wife.
Yes. Well, first of all, Mark, thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity. Yes, I was in the counseling center at Houston's First for 9.5 years, and I ended my time there being the clinical director in the counseling center.
Wow.
And now I have started a nonprofit, Thrive On Wellness Retreat Center. It's helping those in ministry and missionaries to be able to thrive,
Yeah.
and so focused a lot on mental health.
Yeah, that's
So,
good. That's good. Well, we need more Cynthia Barkleys in the world. So thank you for what you're doing with the counseling and obviously with the missionary care and Thrive On, and we're rooting you guys on. I should say that there is literally a camp happening all around us. My child is there, your grandchild is there,
yes.
and so there may be screaming in the background, and just know they're having fun.
That's right. And if it's ours, we will have to stop and do
That's
some
right.
things to calm them
That's
down.
right. That's right. Okay. So just dive right in. Talk to us about the mental health issues today. And my personal question is this worse than normal, or am I seeing it for the first time? But mental health is a serious issue.
It is a concern. And being 2 years into the pandemic, we can see that mental health concerns and people seeking psychological services, it's at an all-time high right now.
Wow.
And especially now for children as well.
Yeah. Wow.
So depression and anxiety, it's 4 times higher than pre-pandemic
Wow.
times.
Wow. Now I've read research, that this generation of teenagers, they're having spikes of depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation. Do you see that reflected in your work? Are teenagers so? And I guess I want to ask maybe the difference between children, teenagers, and maybe even young adults. So, like, are teenagers more susceptible to that than other age ranges? Like, how much of it do you think was specifically to that age group?
Uh, yes, right now, I believe that teenagers and kids are very susceptible because they're from a vulnerable population.
Yeah.
They are still growing and they have a lot of physical and emotional changes that's going on in their developmental stage. And so they might be saying one thing but feeling something totally different. And as parents, we have to be inquisitive and try to figure those things out.
Yeah.
And especially during this time, this is the perfect time to really get engaged and attuned to our kids and our families and often ourselves, because
Yeah.
sometimes we don't even know ourselves, right?
Yeah.
What we're feeling ourselves.
Yeah.
And the research is pointing to, as the pandemic recedes, that studying other traumatic events that have happened, like 9/11 and hurricanes and volcanoes and that kind of thing, it's projected. Those are all traumatic events, and it's projected that we can experience some of those negative, the impact for years to come.
Wow.
And like 7 to 10 years,
Wow.
we can be experiencing the negative repercussions of the pandemic.
Wow. Wow. I will tell you, that's just my own commenting on that is I see lots of students wrestling with this stuff, and some of it, and part of it, just my own experience. I've watched the world kind of turn upside down, and I think specifically for me, 2016 was kind of a spike year. There was an election happening. There was racial unrest, kind of not beginning, but seeming to ramp up. And so it's interesting that you say that the pandemic results, or the trauma of the pandemic, may yield results for 7 to 10 years, because I've been thinking about, are we the anxiety and the depression that we're talking about earlier was pre-pandemic, and it's even gotten worse.
Right.
Man, so
Right.
so we might as well just go ahead and look ourselves in the mirror and say, this is a real problem that we're having to deal with. This is something that we're going to have to wrestle with. I honestly, the point of this podcast is to just get comfortable with having some of the difficult conversations that we need to have. And I can tell you that I have a first grader, a third grader, and a sixth grader. At least that's the grades they just finished. It's the summer 2022. And I'm having to get comfortable with conversations that I never thought I'd have to get comfortable with. Yeah. And we don't deal necessarily with anxiety on a clinical level in our household, at least not yet. But I can see that may be something that we need to get, prepared for down the road. Now, most parents aren't experts at mental health. So what, like you're talking to an average parent right now, what could an average parent do to help their kid along in their mental health journey?
Okay, so let's back up just a little bit and talk about stress, right? Because a lot of this, the stress is what accumulates in the body.
Okay.
And if we don't have these protective factors and coping skills, then we're going to see all these different things that we're seeing now, right? With the physical symptoms, the mental symptoms, emotional and spiritual. First, physical symptoms. They can be sick at their stomach, high blood pressure, and, just sweating. And mental, poor concentration. Yeah. So a lot of times when you think about school, you think, they just didn't do their homework, right?
Don't we all rush to that?
Right. They just didn't do their homework. Look, they're just being irresponsible.
Yeah.
Well, accumulated stress impacts your prefrontal cortex.
Oh my goodness.
And then when that happens, you really don't have that capacity to have those skills, right? And to help you out in some of those areas, even problem solving, right? And then you think about, gosh, they're so aggressive or they're just argumentative. Another symptom.
Yeah.
Another symptom of stress. And the stress accumulates in your body. And so teaching ourselves, number one, as parents, and how we can cope with that and how we can get that out, and also teaching our kids that it's vital.
Yeah.
Especially now during the pandemic, we are seeing in our culture and in the world today where this is not managed, right?
Wow.
We do not have the healthy coping skills.
Yeah.
And so for parents, saying, you've got it. You've got what it takes. Don't try to fix it.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. Be curious and notice, right?
Wow.
Because as teenagers, they're going to tell you no.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm fine. Right?
Interesting.
No, but be inquisitive.
Interesting. I've had some conversations with some school counselors about, again, pre-pandemic, and they said that, and these are local here in Houston, the Houston area, that one of the issues that we're seeing with the anxiety and depression and suicidal ideation is related to achievement, scholastics, college decisions, and then for sure, like the way that social media and like popularity and fame plays into this. Like we're starting to see this specific generation of teenagers loves the idea of being famous. There's something about TikTok and some kind of new like digital careers that have shown them that they don't have to do the traditional college route. They could stream video games, or they could be an influencer, or they could do all these things and make millions. But backing off of that, going back to what the counselors are saying, is that so number one is achievement. One of the values of this generation is achievement, and that when they don't find that good grade happens, or they don't get into the school they want, what I'm learning from these counselors is that they don't know how to cope with that stress. Exactly what you're saying, or they don't know how to cope with the results.
Why didn't I get an A on that?
Right.
I should have. I would have known it.
Yeah.
And then that can play into negative core beliefs of themselves.
Yeah.
You get that long enough, and then that's the lie that we accept.
Yeah. So we as parents have to somehow balance this. And the counselors are saying like the kid doesn't get a good grade, the parents freak out, and all these counselors have said like I've had plenty of phone calls with parents telling me that I gave their kid a D and they didn't deserve a D, they deserved a B plus or something like that, and but we've got to somehow balance as parent. Like it's good to get good grades, it's good to study, it's good to do well, it's good to achieve, but also it's not the end of the world, and you're still valuable, and I don't know where that is exactly, but we've got to help our kids figure out how to deal with that stress. That's really, really good. Now, I'm a youth pastor, and so I've been in the local church my whole career. How do you think the church can play a role in mental health, and what are the things that parents should be looking for in a church that can help their child as far as that goes?
Well, I think the church should play a role in mental health.
Yeah.
And because we can't separate the person.
Right.
God created us spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical beings. And we are a community.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why I am proud to be a member of Houston's First Baptist Church, because I feel like our church tries to meet the whole person. Mm-hmm. And for example, here at the Siena campus, one way we do that is through Life Bible study groups.
Yeah.
We're doing life together each day. It's not that you just show up and read the Bible on Sunday.
Right.
What is that, right? No, you're actually walking through the storms with each other.
That's good.
And I had gone to a conference a few years ago, and it was just talking about brain development and neuroplasticity of the brain. And
we go to different conferences.
And
I've never been to a conference that talks about brain development. That's great. That's great. That's why you're here.
Oh, it was awesome. It just got me excited, because as I was sitting there listening to this, the presenter gave an example about the nervous system and talking about American buffaloes, the analogy of American buffalo. And I didn't know anything about American buffalo.
Neither do I.
was listening, and he said, they're just different than cows. So cows, they'll be grazing in the field, and a storm will come. And when the storm comes, it scares them. And so what do? They try to run away from the storm. And cows are slow, right? So the storm comes, and it overtakes the cow. They're in the storm a lot longer because they were trying to run from it. And they're just kind of like scattered, right? But American buffalo, they're different. And this was really interesting to me. So they will notice in the sky that a storm is coming. They'll look up and go, okay, that storm is coming. And one of them will start towards the storm.
Okay.
This is really interesting. All the other ones will look, and they will join them. And they will go together to the storm.
That's fascinating.
Beautiful is that? That's like the body of Christ,
right,
and how we should be, right? Going together as community through the storm. We have been through some storms.
Right.
Through the pandemic. And so talking about mental health, that's what we're doing, going through this storm together and saying, whew, just a minute, time out.
Right.
Man, I'm feeling some stress.
Yeah.
And how do we deal with that?
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, so I just thought, man, this is just so neat, and just a beautiful reminder that God made us.
Yeah.
He made our nervous systems, He made our brains, He made the animals, and He made us, and He cares about us right now today.
That's so good. That's so good. And I think the way I hear that is like the importance of not isolating ourselves.
That's right.
And walking through those storms together.
Yes.
We've got the community thing. So I think, and if I'm hearing you, and I fully agree with you, is just how important it is for your family, for your teenager to be a part of community. And I would even say specifically what we see is that we see really, really good results when teenagers are not just a part of teenager community, but they're a part of the whole church. And so that's why, sometimes we get parents asking, like, well, my kid doesn't think church is exciting. They think church, like big church, is boring downstairs or whatever. And they don't, honestly. But like most parents assume their kids are going to think that that's boring. But those kids are a part of our youth ministries. They're a part of our whole church. And what we're seeing is that it yields healthier results when specifically teenagers graduate out of a system where they are a part of community and they do walk through storms together. And it's not just teenagers together, but it's leaders. That's why our leaders, our volunteers are so crucial.
Yes, that's right. And, just thinking about that, do our kids always have to be entertained?
Oh, exactly right.
And can they be bored? Is it okay that our kids are bored?
Board time is actually healthy. Yeah.
And because that's just a feeling, and feelings come and go. And you know what? The next week or the next 5 minutes,
right,
they won't be bored.
That's right.
And so remembering that, no, we don't always have to entertain. It's okay if they're bored.
Yeah.
We don't have to fix anything.
Yeah.
And so thinking about that mental health wise with parents, what are things that you can do?
Yeah.
Making sure that you are attuned with your kids and thinking about what they're eating. Sugars and anxiety and caffeine will put spikes in anxiety. Yeah. So monitor that with the kids.
Yeah.
And also exercising. If they're laying on the couch a lot, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They don't need to. They need to be active. They need to be out doing things, and making sure you have that community time, right? Also, just giving back, and I think Sienna does a really good job of that, of giving back and volunteering. And I've seen pictures of some of our younger kids going with dads to help widows.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Because it takes us out of our own space and our own heads, and we're able to do and give to others. Also, gratitude, practicing gratitude. And as parents, we need to be examples of that. So it might have been a really yucky day, right? Well, what was one good thing that happened?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it going to be like the little drop that you put in the water that discolors the whole day? Or, that wasn't good. Can we hold the paradox of the day?
Right.
Yeah, this stunk over here.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm holding this over here too. I can hold both and still be okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So, soul care, self-care.
Yeah. And I think that the thing maybe that I need to hear, okay, so again, first grader, third grader, sixth grader, and depending on where parents are at, sometimes I have a bad day and I kind of want to come home and I want to disconnect.
Yes.
And I go home and it's not like you're off work, it's your time, it's it's you time. As a parent, just kind of being attuned to what my kids are going through and all that, just being ready to have a conversation and help them unpack the day is maybe best case scenario. To be attuned. And, sometimes my kids, drift towards devices and drift towards inside time when they really need some outside time.
That's easy to do, right?
Yeah. That's good.
Especially if we need it as a parent.
Yes. Yes.
Like this week, my grandson is spending the week with us. Well, both of them are. And so, God gave younger people kids, not older. So by the end of the day, even though he's here all day, by the end of the day, I'm kind of tired.
I'm tired, yeah.
And so when he got home, he had a little meltdown one day yesterday. And as I was sitting there, I'm like, I'm tired too. But you know what? As I looked at him, I had more compassion towards him because I realized, where is he in his nervous system? He's dysregulated, poor little thing. He's exhausted. And I'm dysregulated too, so we're going to have to take care of ourselves, and we're going to go do something together.
Yeah.
And, so taking a step back and, yes, definitely putting the electronics away, that's going to be important with our young people, that they don't feel like they're competing. That they actually have your undivided attention when you're talking to them.
That's good.
The phone's put away. It's not even there, right? So
maybe that's what we need to hear, Cynthia, is just we give our students a lot of junk for being on devices all day, but the parents need to be off of them too. Like to give them their undivided attention.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I needed that reminder. I got a little Holy Spirit conviction right there.
Well,
needed it.
I'm reminding myself too.
Yeah.
You know, so it's easy to just pick it up or have it there and, oh, I need this text. No.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Put it away. Yeah. Man, that's good. And what I loved about that is that you were able to, man, okay, so play this out with me here.
Okay.
You were able to regulate together.
Yes. Y'all
came from two different places of maybe a little bit of difficulty in the day, came home, a little dysregulation, and you were regulate together. I did play this through in my head, this whole like airplane analogy. You can't help anyone else until you got your own oxygen mask on. But on a certain level, you're able to kind of walk through it together. Sometimes that's taking a walk. Sometimes that's maybe going outside and sitting, getting some sunshine. I remember we did that on the pandemic. Was we're inside, and so let's go outside, get some vitamin D, and let's talk.
Yeah. So parents don't have to know it all.
Yeah. Right.
And
can you just repeat that?
Yeah.
Parents don't have to know it all.
Don't have to know it all.
That's so good.
That we're learning along with them.
Right.
And on a lot of things. And for me too, I'm trying to teach my grandson about his own regulation and different things. So we'll pull up on YouTube different activities of breathing and thoughts and to help in that. And so yesterday, he didn't want to breathe, but that's okay. Right. That's okay. I said, Mimi's going to breathe because Mimi needs to breathe. And but he did his own, and his body did regulate.
That's good.
And so we do need each other.
Yeah.
And I think we need to normalize it and talk about it. Not that something is wrong with you because, you're not regulated.
Yeah.
Nope. We all are going up and down that ladder in our nervous system. Yeah. And the key is being able to do that in a healthy way and healthy coping and not in negative ways like hitting and
that's so good.
Beating someone up.
Well, we've talked about kind of the family end of it, the kid end of it, the church kind of connection there. But you're a counselor, and so some people come and see you for more, things that are above my pay grade, which thank you for the work you do. We need you. When should a parent decide that counseling is the right thing for their child? When does it click into another gear there where they really need to go see a counselor?
I feel that when a parent feels that you've used all the resources that you know and you're still hitting a brick wall, still running into some issues, then seek additional help.
Yeah, that's good.
And normalize it for your child that they don't go thinking, I'm broken, something's wrong with me.
Yeah, we got to get rid of that stigma.
Yeah, and I think we've moved some away from that because I've noticed since I've been in counseling that the younger generations are more apt to come to counseling than the older ones.
Yeah, that's so good.
Which is a great thing.
Well, thank you so much. I think that this has just been a conversation that's helping me as a parent, and I know is going to help a lot of parents out there as they seek to figure out. And listen, we're all still, we're not going to be experts after a week of this or a year of this, but I think it's going to be a good shot in the arm and helping us figure out how to just give our kids the tools to have better mental health. So
that's right. You're giving them lifelong tools.
Lifelong tools.
Lifelong tools.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mark.